Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
I'm Chemda.
The great Mike Lawrence. Mike, hello.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Who doesn't like Mike Lawrence? Mike, you probably
Mike
know.
Lawrence.
That came out so fast. It took us a beat to even get it.
He does know. Shit, he does know. We met Mike Lawrence back in 2010. KeithAndTheGirl.com/Mike Lawrence. Type that in and see all the times he was on. This guy's a giver. He's also funny as fuck. To get both of those together, it's quite a treat, and it's great to see. Let's get right into the writer's strike. That's horrible handwriting you have. I don't know how you're going to get shit done.
Yeah, I'm disabled.
What's it like? What is it? I'm disabled. What's it like to pick it? What is it like to pick up the sign? How often do you do it? And what's the feeling to you out there?
What you're really saying is, as a writer, how is it to be physical and active for the first time in your adult life?
Did they do it just to make you walk around? You know, I was at the Borgata and Kyle was performing. So I'm back in the food area and I see they have the whole top of the casino where they count the money and all this shit is a bunch of hallways. And they have signs that say, don't forget to walk around during your break. Please. This is your exercise. Maybe the powers that be put this together. So A, you'd get your exercise. B, figure out some fresh new shit because that's the only way you guys hang out with each other. It's for more concepts.
They could have just thrown a party. My God.
And how hard is it to hold those are big fucking signs that I'm saying.
Yeah, they are.
It's got to get exhausting in 2 literal minutes.
Yeah. I mean, especially when you realize no money's coming in, but you know,
right. Right.
It's really interesting seeing, like I was saying, like you could tell how well a writer's doing based on how much they smile in their picket selfie.
Yes. Right.
You know, that they're like really happy. It's like, oh, you got bank. You say, right. you got that Law and Order money.
What's the proper way when the celebrities come by? Sorry. What's the proper way when the celebrities come by with a free donut or pizza? What's the play? Do you go for it right away? Do you act like you're above it? Do you wait until you're number 3?
That's what's great about if you're unashamedly fat in LA and there's only like 5 of us, you can get whatever you want. It's awesome. Like I've had the first dibs on cupcakes, macaroons, all the stuff because it doesn't bother me, you know, what other people think about me. And I'm one of the people, like few people who moved here and got fatter. and that's part of why, because it's like they you know, they spend good money on that stuff. Like I was in a room one time where they had Lindor truffles. Oh, and then I've never been in another room since then. And in my mind, I'm like, are we really striking so that all the rooms get Lindor truffles? Because that's what we should be doing.
That makes sense. Otherwise, it's not a bad life we have.
Yeah.
They're shutting your mouth. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the reality is, like, as someone who is, you know, done like Writers Guild work, non-Writers Guild, like the difference between a guild job and a non-guild job is LaCroix. It's really it. So you do a non-guild job, there's just like a bunch of like lukewarm bottled waters from like even if the room is cold, the water is somehow warm.
A non-union is getting Zima still. What's left over?
Yeah, we can't tell if that's piss or Fresca, but you know, gambler's choice.
Yeah, I think I remember when there was the comic strike and they were like, can we just get the chicken half off also and not just the pasta?
You can have the RC Cola for free.
Do you know what you're going to say, Chemda? I cut you off.
No, I like your question so much. I think we should go with them. I was going to ask him if he's nervous because he has a baby, but come on.
Oh, yeah. No.
Craft services. Come on. Get your head in the game, Chemda.
No.
Well, you probably also have to debate. Do you not?
Keith is asking the questions everyone does. Chemda's asking the questions we ask ourselves.
Right. She read the books.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course. That's why it's like, I mean, I'm doing it and I support the strike. I voted yes for WGA. I'm gonna vote yes for SAG as well. And
Who the fuck voted no, by the way? Sorry, WGA, 2% of yous said no, let's not strike. Did they go, well, I didn't know it'd be made public? Then yes.
no, those people are like the most vocal.
Yeah. Who are they? Are they who the fuck is the 2% that are like, no,
Well,
things are good as is, I promise.
Here's the reality that you're not mentioning is that 77% of eligible members voted at all. So there's like a lot of, there's like 23% of people that didn't vote. But think about those 2% that could have just not voted, but really wanted to get their no in.
Right.
Are they actually public about who they are? Because you said they're vocal. Are they?
They're
vocal
often, not this time as much. When we had to fire agents in 2019, that was much more. They were like someone did like an op-ed about how much they love their agent and it's the best friendship they have, and it's like,
oh boy.
And people just love like having someone to pile on in a situation like that. I haven't really heard anti-strike stuff yet, but who knows? I mean, it's scary to strike. So like I could see it and the hesitation, but I mean, I could speak personally that things have gone on a slope, and we're treated more like
negatively money wise. You mean?
That's what's funny is that we're afraid of being replaced by AI, but they've also treated us like robots because
right.
The thing is the tech companies that have gotten into production. And the way that they treat their employees they treat creatives like that, and we're not used to it. But I was once told, like, on a show I worked on, make the episodes shorter because that's what our customers prefer. And they didn't say viewers, they didn't say audience, just customers. Like that's what they think of the people that watch their stuff.
But is that just reality? Aren't we your customer, right?
Yeah.
Should we use the language that makes should they use the language? I don't even.
It means they don't know the art, and not to be grandiose, but if you couldn't control, like it's all a trick. So if you couldn't control yourself,
right. If
so you're absolutely right.
The trick.
But
right.
I think that illusion is worth fighting for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like if it is just, I mean, then that's the thing too, right? If it is just labor, if they are just customers, then pay us what we're worth, right?
Right. And also, you know what?
Oh, we have customers? Yeah, that's good news.
Right. Even the Gap knows to, have someone folding in the front and say, welcome guest. Or like, I remember when sandwich shops were like, can I help the next guest? And I'm like, I'm a guest now? What do you think that's going to do to me? And then I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess you're not calling me a customer, but I still have to bloop and pay you.
Right. Sure.
Hello, guest. Your guesting today will cost you $12.99.
I've even being a waiter, I put down the check and I act like we're shaking hands, like, hey, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put this here. I don't know even what happens after that. Oh,
Right.
Good. You gave me money. Good, because I would have been fired. Good. That worked.
Yeah, I think it's just that idea, like you want as an artist, I think as anybody, you want to believe there's more nobility to what you're doing than there is. Like stand-ups stopped being fun for me when I realized I'm just a distraction to sell overpriced drinks. And I was not able to put that toothpaste of reality back in the tube.
Right.
Especially as someone who doesn't drink, I can't even relate to that. So it was like just this weird. And I love stand-up and I still do it sometimes, but like the amount of shows that I was doing where I'm like, oh crap, like if I had a good set, they didn't complain about their $13 Heineken. And if I bombed, they're like, what? It costs this?
You know what? When we started this podcast 18 years ago, excuse me. And back then the internet was novel. So people weren't putting their businesses on there. So when we started doing live events, I actually walked around places like the West Village, went into like rock and roll band places and places that do live music, asked them about their venue. Can we borrow it for a night? Can we do a ticketed event? Can we use their back room? And the reason why is because we were avoiding comedy clubs, even though we were going to do a live comedy show, because we saw the experience of them seating you 15 minutes before as quickly as possible, as close as possible to the next person, because you're in one of the top clubs, you're about to see the big names, and then rushing you out after, like, they sometimes ask you for both your drinks because there's a 2-drink minimum. They bring them both at the same time so that they can hurry up and finish in an hour and a half. The check gets dropped. The last comedian is pissed because now we're doing math while they're trying to tell a joke. Mm-hmm. And that experience, rock clubs, they want you to like come in early. They let you listen to the music. There's like this atmosphere of hang out, please hang out, and unfortunately, comedy clubs, if they want to make money, they got to shove you in, sit down and get the fuck out. And that was a shame. So we did it in like weird clubs and rock venues.
Well, it's also because like, I think a lot of times, like some of those rock venues, like their whole thing is to build a regular base, right? And especially in New York, I mean, I think there are really great comedy clubs, but a lot of them are just based on, we'll fool you once, like I always say, like my nightmare is if like I'm flying somewhere and I get stuck in like Denmark or Luxembourg and every person that I performed for at the shitty comedy clubs sees me like, hey, look, it's that comic who bombed in front of us 15 years ago. They said you were Jerry Seinfeld. You weren't Jerry.
I've passed the club and it's like Mike Kaplan's performing tonight. I'm like, hold on, let me put him on speaker. You caught me at a weird time. Hey, Mike, apparently you're at this.
One of my favorite things used to be like in Times Square and stuff when they would sell me to me.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, you like comedy? And it's like, oh, who? Because some clubs are honest about who's on the lineup, that you could tell because the seats are empty. But but you'll ask, you're like, all right, so then we got this guy, Mike Lawrence. Oh, what's he like? And they'll start talking.
What are your adjectives? Like, what did they say about Mike Lawrence?
Oh, they're like, oh, he's funny, like they'll say that I've had a career that I envy. Oh, he's done this and that. I was like, I wish I was on all those shows.
Well, I do see your writing name, speaking of writing, popping up so many fucking times all over the place. That's the truth. When you're at the pickup places,
yeah.
And you've been married, what, like 9 years now?
It'll be 9. Yeah. Great.
Congrats.
Yeah. It'll be 9 years in August. And we just celebrated our first date, 13 years. Yeah.
Excellent. 13 years. So tell me, so you're not looking for pussy, but at these places, there's a vibe that I've been to.
I'm still looking for dick though. So
sure. I've been to a couple government protests. I happened to be dating somebody at the time, but I knew this is a great place for single people to meet people. Did you get that vibe at all or no?
No, because like
Mike has never felt that vibe. He doesn't know how to like pick up on social cues.
He liked Adina and it's done.
Right. He just started taking medication. Let him adjust.
Are you reliable, steady pussy for me? Okay. That is good. That shall suffice. I am satisfied.
It was the last time we talked to Mike, I believe it was the Keith and the Girl Marathon.
Yeah.
And so forgive me if I repeat some questions because I might have been loopy as fuck. But like Kemda brought up, recently you were diagnosed with autism. And I remember, I just forget how, but I remember it pleased you that you got an answer that made sense to things. What started making sense? Why was it good news to be diagnosed?
Because
what made you look to begin with?
Right. What made you look? Right. Because we've been saying this shit for years.
So when did you realize you were the last to know something that everybody else I know I've said on stage, like me telling people I was autistic is like RuPaul coming out, like, but in the dress.
Right.
No, it was really becoming it was starting the adoption process, becoming a father, so that that ties in.
Right.
And it's really helped with parenting. So my kid now is 6 months old. And the thing about a diagnosis is I think that there's two ways that you could look at it and navigate it. And one is you could use it as an excuse for everything and just continue whatever behaviors that, even negative behaviors, and just go, oh, that's my autism. Woo woo.
You buy the shirt. Sorry,
or
autistic.
You can learn what you're like. For me, like the things that like I had to learn, like my triggers, things that like overwhelm me and things like that. And so it's really helped to navigate things and put in perspective what my strengths are and what my weaknesses are.
What does it mean to
have?
Are? What does it mean to have autism? What is like? Why would you look for autism? If I get that people might have been telling you, but people throw around shit and you're on roasts and they have to push you on something, right? So you could just dismiss it. Why were you looking, or did the doctor go, hey, stop rocking back and forth, take this?
I mean, I wish people were that advanced at roast. I never got past the homeless guy, bearded stuff. Like every once in a while, someone would. I mean, and yeah, the rocking thing, like, there was one of the best roast battle jokes I ever heard were from Zach Amico. I don't know if you guys ever had him on the show.
I know him.
Yeah, he's so funny. And he had these two jokes.
I mean, I know him, which is the
yeah. But he's
very well known. I know him.
He's my roommate. Shit.
Yeah.
I'm best friends.
But he had these two jokes. He goes, Mike Lawrence rocks, back and forth as he silently judges you. And then the other this was his closer. It's still the best joke that's ever been written about me, I think. There's nothing I'd like to do more than look Mike Lawrence in the eyes and shake his hands, but I know he's physically incapable of either of those things. But yeah, so
what you're talking about with the hands is you don't have a lot of hand muscle, right?
Yeah, it's my handwriting, but and it's just I sweat a lot. I get nervous in social situations and things, like, which is so funny, like a lot of autism is being overly aware. Like I'll right. Like, here's the thing that happened yesterday. We went to Denny's. Me, my wife, and my child. So weird thing. My son. Like, you can't not.
Don't ever question my fatherhood.
Mike Lawrence owns a person now.
Yeah. Yeah. And
you're in charge.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, Kratos from God of War, my boy. But we so we were there. In the Denny's, there was like one waitress and there was like one cook, and all these people were complaining, and I could not get over how overwhelmed I was by all the complaints. I felt people's conversations from halfway across the room, because I would hear something they said and then I couldn't detach myself from it, and I was just having a miserable time.
You were the worker?
Is part of autism like you are so aware of everything that you can't filter out what you would like to think about? You have to sort of think about what's coming at you?
For me, it is. Yeah. And it's a spectrum. So like I can only speak on my experiences and things like that. But for me, yes.
Okay.
And so
not everybody has any of this. It's like a sprinkling of this or one of those. And
yeah,
none of it is the same. You're all snowflakes, and it's a spectrum. So somebody might completely be able to grip, look you in the eye, but have like something else that you might not even have. Okay.
And some of that I'm saying is I just, it's a community that is full of people who do easily get irritated. So it's like, I don't want to,
right.
But also I don't want to generalize and all that. And I'm still learning about this stuff too. So it's like, I'm not the most educated person, but I have a lifetime of experience of feeling things like this. And it's that thing like when you're on when you're on stage and you can hear like someone all the way in the back of the room, like I can't turn that off anywhere I go. So like that was a thing, I've been to New York since my diagnosis twice. And it's so interesting because that place is just full of triggers and full of like being overwhelmed. Like a thing that like causes me a lot of anxiety is the feeling of being watched. Like if I'm in, if someone is behind me at an ATM or something, I feel the need to rush so fast because I think they're judging me. And this is part of why I don't drive. Like this is the thing I've realized about myself. I'm so afraid of what other people are going to think of me as a driver because, so much of driving is just yelling judgments on someone's entire life based on how they turn somewhere.
Is that what driving is? Keith, was that on your test recently for
you know what? I'll tell you. First of all, what a shame the word snowflakes is ruined. And anytime that's thrown out there.
Yeah.
Like, what? Of course we know what you meant.
Hey, I grew up in Florida, so we literally had no snowflakes.
Right. That's why they shit on. I'm like, right. Are you a weather we've never had? I don't know. Your political thoughts.
Look at this fucking hailstorm.
It's
I don't know why my Florida is also the Bronx, but
it's funny that's where the craziest people come from. It's funny that to learn that you're nervous around other people. And I say that because I don't know if it's autism related about giving off a personality, but I'm nervous around Mike Lawrence in that is he happy to be here? Is he pleased? Now you go to / Mike Lawrence and he's been on 35 times. I'm going to guess easily. I know this guy, but at the same time, I'm like, am I putting him out? Is he happy?
May I? Is that the irritation, Mike, that you feel and that people see you being irritated and they take it personally?
But I'm not irritated.
Here's the thing that's interesting that about autism, and this is a wider thing that I think I see myself in this. Autistic people, a lot of times, their faces don't match their emotions. So, I often will get made fun of for how unhappy I look in photographs, even if I'm actually happy.
The birth of my daughter.
Because I don't know,
anything like that.
Yeah, there's like group photos and stuff where it's like, man, you look so miserable. I'm like, no, that was one of the times in my life I enjoyed things. Right. But it's the irritability for me, then it becomes overwhelming. And like what's fascinating when me and Adina fly, for her, the fear is the flight itself, right? Turbulence, shit like that. For me, it's boarding and fearing that I'm not going to get my stuff on. And that, I'm gonna, if I put something overhead, someone's waiting behind me, or if someone complains about the temperature, people complaining about temperature is more harmful to me than temperature. That's been a tough thing in writers' rooms when someone's like, it's cold in here, isn't it? Like, I would rather be freezing in my underwear than hear someone say it's cold in here.
Oh, wow. I got so close saying snowflake. Ooh,
yeah,
right. Dodged it. Ooh.
So you just imagine growing up, in Jewish retirement homes visiting my grandma. The hellscape that was. Jesus Christ.
What is it? Is it the complaining in general, or is it like you don't like this person isn't happy?
I think it's both. But it depends because with the restaurant yesterday, it was the complaining and it was the complete lack of a few things. One, you're in a Denny's. You should know what this is.
Right.
Two, they were just multiple people were just so mean to the staff. So that was really bothering me. And I'm very self-aware about stuff like that, especially, working McDonald's and everything. Right. And I was starting to get PTSD. There was a woman in there that was 98 years old and she was so nasty. And it was funny because I was like, I don't know if I should get something healthier. I was like, maybe I'll get the turkey bacon. And then this woman was so nasty. I'm like, I'm gonna get the bacon. I'm gonna get the cinnamon pancakes because I don't want to be fucking 98 and be an embarrassment and ruin other people's lives. I'm like, you are not giving life anymore. You are draining it from other people. You should die.
So you're worried about other people judging you, is what you're saying. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't, you know, like I don't want to live to be that much of a burden. I mean, this woman was so miserable and never said thank you. And it was that reality too of like she asked for everything so specifically. And I'm like, I bet she doesn't even tip.
Maybe
like, I wanted to know what the tip was, but maybe sure
that's just her resting bitch personality.
Yeah, that has allowed her to survive almost a century.
Right. Yeah, it's always those guys. They're fine, you know.
Because so many other people are like, man, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Dead.
Did you think about coming over to her? Did you think about coming over to her and being like, sorry, where are you at on the spectrum? She's like, what? I'm like, I'm looking for an excuse. God, you're a bitch.
I
just wanted to be like, ma'am, this server is not one of your slaves. And by the way, slavery is over.
Right.
How did this affect your relationship with Adina?
You can't go to restaurants.
Communicating and things like that, or even at home, like just being honest.
Everyone has trouble communicating, right? That's what we hear in couples, and go to therapy, and it's communicating, and you got to communicate this way, and have a pause, and communication. Why is yours different?
Because I can say things now like that I wasn't able to say before. Like, I am not comfortable. There are three. I'll be like, there are three things right now that are keeping me from enjoying this situation. That person over there, that person over there, and
a flickering candle.
The fact that we showed up, like, you know, like that's the thing. Like, time for me is a really big thing. Like, and so I sometimes have to communicate. Like, she's like, it's not that big of an issue if we're late, and I'm like, it is to me, and I am panicking right now.
So now what would happen before you were able to communicate, I don't feel good because of these three? How would you actually react?
I just wouldn't feel good, and I'd be cranky and irritable. And now I'm able to, you know, we have a number system. So like I'll say from a scale of 1 to 5, and it's like if it's a 4 or 5, we think of how we can leave the situation sometimes. All right, you know what? I'm like at a full 5. Okay, maybe we just, you know, you like take a deep breath, or this isn't worth it, you know, like, all right, this line is too long or whatever it is. Okay.
So the things that the rest of us are able to be like, nah, I'm not staying on this line, and I'm not thinking about it twice. I don't have to like negotiate this. This is something that I just know about myself, and I'm willing to articulate it. You were having a hard time with that?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to see where I am. And then, so how would that irritability manifest in that date? Let's say now you're at dinner. Are you able to have a conversation? Is she feeling anger from you? Does she know not to take it personally before the diagnosis?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was the thing of like, why is this happening? And, you know, and I think it was just like learning breathing exercises and things like that have like helped so much. And just finding ways to combat things, you know, getting on medication, stuff like that. And
what's the medication?
I mean, I just take antidepressants.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So that connects whatever needs to connect.
I mean, I don't even think it's still all connected because I still feel.
Are you irritated right now? 1 to 5.
And do you have to start?
Okay.
Do you have to start it? Does 1 to 5 have to have a 1? I was having a fake argument with somebody just the other day about movie ratings, and they make you give a 1 star. I'm like, what if it's a pro KKK movie? Can things be 0?
I remember things used to get 0 stars in paper.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm always at least at a 1. So I'm never at 0.
That we woke you up as a 2.
No, the sound check, that always causes me stress. Always.
We know that. Do you know that we tell you different times than other people? Because, because we
He goes, yeah. Yeah,
I've seen
I don't let on, then thank you.
Really? I say it different to you. I'm more gentle about it, and it's more a request to come early than hey, we do this 15 minutes ahead of time. I'm like, listen, if you can make it there 5 minutes before,
okay. It wouldn't be putting us out.
We could enjoy that.
That was the thing. I had to find a way to be a funny and entertaining enough guest to get those privileges.
Right.
The amount of pressure I feel right now. Geez, like I gotta get a laugh a minute, or the next time we do this, each minute I don't get a laugh, that's one more minute to the sound check. So can you come 37 minutes early? You unfunny piece of shit.
What's cooler? All the Marvel movies or adopting a child?
Whoa. I gotta leave. I can't. This is the
five.
Well, adopting a child hasn't disappointed me yet. So
what was that, Mike? Sorry.
Adopting a child hasn't disappointed me yet. And now I'm not with my kid. And now he's like, now you also have to watch these 5 TV shows to spend time with me. And
but then they're a teenager, like, oh, we got a rough season. Shit.
Yeah.
Are you
Can we cancel this?
Right. How old are they now?
He's 6 months.
6 months. Are you doing a good job?
He's alive.
You don't know. He's 6 months. Who the fuck knows, right?
No. No, my answer is better. He's alive.
He's alive, right?
Yeah.
Would you, speaking of fast food, would you, I'm going to say allow, would you allow your young teenage kid to work at a fast food restaurant?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was in the military, and I see some things about what goes on sexually with the women. I'm like, I wouldn't let them do that. And I just bring up fast food because lately it seems every single fucking day I'm reading a fast food murder, whether it's the employee or the customer,
the guest,
or the guest. All right. But you ever the fast food? You've gotten fast food obviously since you've worked there?
Yes, I did. I'm aware I'm fat.
I didn't mean to say the word obviously. Looking back, that was immediate. I'm like, why did I say obviously? I just meant you're a human goddamn being.
People who are just listening, even his voice sounds heavier.
But would you ever complain like, oh, sorry, my food's cold? Because I never.
Never have, never will.
That's why you're alive.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, your fries are cold? Don't worry. Here's hot oil in your face. Oh,
I could smell a pickle from like 20 feet away. I hate pickles. If there's a pickle, I just take it off. I put a bunch of sauce on the burger and I eat it. I'm never gonna.
Never.
You know why? Because
I know why. I'm not going to
complain to that I'm not going to complain to that employee because that employee doesn't get to complain to God because God clearly isn't listening to that.
Right.
And I've had the days that are awful and then showing up to work at a fast food place. So I just assume, those are the one places I go where like, I assume they've already had a bad day. Yeah. Something didn't happen. Even if the song "So You Had a Bad Day" played and they related it to it too much, that counts.
And just for the record, for those who are hearing you for the first time, you worked at McDonald's for 7 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then got an autism diagnosis. I know, surprising.
Right. The manager
you should get one free after the 5th year.
The manager knew and he loved you because you were a good employee. The only one who showed up on time. The only one who actually scrubbed down the shit.
You got autism. No one tell him. Do you like fries with that?
No, I get a wrong order from these places. I go, thank you, first of all. Thank you for the different order. Nothing's wrong. Thank you. It's different. If you have another order for me, I can exchange that. But either way, I'm blessed. Thank you.
Even the Big Mac song just sounds like an autistic person staring at a burger. To all beef patty, special sauce, less cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
Right.
And how many sesame seeds? 68.
Yeah, people are worried fast food workers are spitting in your food. You're getting hot oil to the face. You are paying more for your meal than they got paid for the hour. Your meal is 5 fucking seconds.
Have over their life is on your food. So don't piss them off.
Yeah. You got what you got. It was $2. Leave it alone. Stay alive.
Yeah. My favorite thing whenever I worked there was if someone used the word restaurant.
Right. Somebody used the word food.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's not. Don't be mad at me that you're here.
Right.
You made bad choices up to this point to be here. And
so did I. We all made bad choices and we're all here. So let's be friends. We have this thing in common together. We somehow love McDonald's or Burger King or wherever we are. We can admit it because we're in this place, right? No, I just got shot. I'm sorry. I just
Yeah, and you get to leave and I don't, and that's why you're a guest.
I don't know if you had to sign some. I don't know if legally you can say this, but McDonald's, for example, says they have 100% pure beef. There's no way that's possible. My theory is, tell me if I'm right, that they started a plant of bullshit and they named it 100% pure beef. And now they say, here it is from 100% pure beef. Am I right?
Or maybe the part that's beef is 100% pure beef, but that part is 1% of the actual patty.
Maybe beef means lie.
I know you read food labels when it says like made with real cheese. I was like, I wasn't thinking it wasn't.
So what does that mean? Yeah. Real is an acronym. I don't want to know what the fuck it stands for. I know
it's this shitty region of France, Real. Right. You want some Real cheese?
Right. It doesn't need put in the fridge. It's interesting.
It's made with my wife's sour tit milk.
Do you appreciate music? I know an autistic person or two that one can't hear even the melody. Another one happened to only relate, of all things, to Metallica's S&M album, the one with an orchestra. Is there anything like any go-to music or music like? I mean, I hate certain music too.
I'm a person. This is the thing for me. Even if I'm like in a really like in a bar and everyone's like really loud, I can hear the music exquisitely clean.
Right.
And like I'll start referencing a song that I can hear that nobody else can hear that is playing, but just not at a loud enough volume for other people.
That's funny. Do you sleep okay?
Yeah. I mean, especially now for being a father, I do okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Yeah. It's not a good time to ask that question.
Right.
Or am I getting sleep? My son is alive. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. Right. I had to choose between my sleep and his life.
Right.
And one day the sleep might win.
But then it's your money or your life, you know?
Yeah. No, we actually, I don't know. It always feels weird whenever you talk about like how well parenting's going because you feel like you're bragging, but it's going pretty well.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that because it seems that when we see new parents at about this stage or a little before, a little after, like within the first year, they always say, and you haven't yet, so I'm, maybe you know a secret. They always say, no one told me it would be this hard. I can't believe it's this hard. It's way harder than they said. Now, all I hear from people in their first year of having a baby is, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. I haven't slept in a while. They're cranky. They're always tired. They look disheveled. And it's interesting that as they have that, they're going, no one said. And I'm like, there's a whole section in a bookstore for how you're feeling right now. I knew it was coming, but you couldn't are you feeling any of that? You don't seem to be.
No. And you know what's interesting is that it's so fascinating when if it's one thing being a parent has taught me, it's even having more sympathy for people who don't want kids, because they're the ones who are like, no, I know what it's going to be.
I'm opting out.
I don't want to live like that. I'm like, no, I get it. It's interesting when you talk to people who, actively don't want kids. They often speak from the place of, loving a child that's not even there, right? A hypothetical child. I know that I wouldn't be able to give the life, that I would want, to give and everything like that. It's the people who tell everyone they have to have kids who fucking hate it the most and are the worst parents.
Yes.
Right. I'm like, you're not selling this to me very well. Like, I see you. You look so mad and you're just pointing it at me. I don't see how you go.
You need to feel this too. It's
right.
and it kind of fits, Keith, I know you didn't do this on purpose because it's too smart, but you found a way to make an amazing analogy of the Marvel movies, because it's like the Marvel movies, I could speak up, I'm sure, even as like a hardcore fan of comic books, became less fun when they felt like an obligation. Once you feel like you have to go, or you're just going to fill in a part of a story and not because you want to go and be entertained and see a fun movie, it's not enjoyable anymore.
Right. Now, that was a great point I made.
Yeah.
Yeah, once you have to take care of a kid, it's not enjoyable anymore. I assume that's what you're saying, right? You're speaking truth. I get it. Okay.
But once you're told have a kid because you're supposed to, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
But people are like, see this movie because you have to or you need to. Like, no, people want to still make their own choices, and they should.
You know what they say? Don't shit all over yourself.
Oh, shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Don't shit all over me.
Nice.
But no, it's been we have shifts and all that. It's also, he's adopted, and which I know because people say he's handsome. And Adina was like, she's like, I don't know if we could have made a child that's beautiful on our own. I'm like, as long as you're saying it. No. No, everyone thinks she's the mom. No one ever thinks I'm the dad.
Did the doctor say anything to her? Like, when you're like, are there any development things that you do with the kid in front of a doctor? And the doctor said, I don't know if it's the dad's autism or what, but man, he is connecting with this kid.
Yeah.
Like he knows the kid doesn't want to be there. He knows why the kid's looking up to the top left. Is there anything there that you have special powers at this moment?
Yeah. When you want to know, one is the cry it out method. It's easy for me. And the cry it out method is the way
because you don't have empathy.
Huh?
Because you don't have empathy.
Like, we just wait it out. He's going through time.
I don't know whether to laugh at that or be hurt, because I physically don't know whether to laugh at that or be hurt. No. But no.
Let me tell you, that was very funny.
Here's the thing: I do have empathy, and I think this ties to my autism about complaining and all of that. Is that I don't like when people, complain or do things that they can control or make better themselves. Like the temperature. If you don't like the temperature, just go fucking do something about it. Like, just shut up.
Right.
But a baby has to cry. That's their only way of communicating with you. So the cry it out method is you let them cry for 5 minutes, then you soothe them for 2, then 5 minutes, and that's how the sleep training is to get them to sleep through the night on their own. And for Adina and a lot of parents, and it makes total sense, they're like, I can't do that. I can't just sit there and let my kid cry and not do anything. And I was like, I can.
Right. It said just like that. I can.
Yeah. And so she went like the other side of the house, and you still hear him, but it wasn't as bad. Right. And he was like, wailing, and after like 3 intervals, he fell asleep.
Yeah, I think people crying in general scares the shit out of people. Like, if your partner is crying, if anybody's crying, it's like, oh shit, next level. I don't know what to do. This is like panic button thing. And I think like in my adulthood, I've learned not just like when babies cry, but when adults cry, it's like, listen, you could smile or you could laugh, but it's just a little bit more of the smiling, right? When you're laughing. So if you're sad and you're crying, it's just a little bit more. This too shall pass. Go ahead and cry. Actually, it's probably better that you're crying because it does mean that something is happening.
Yeah, and you're okay communicating it. It's like this is the parenting hack that I could give anybody is just this is a big one. Listen to your pediatrician. Not enough people do that, but I remember, so he was born in the NICU, and
in the
he was born. What's that?
He was born in the what?
The NICU, the infant ICU, basically.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what that
Yeah, like the newborns, so he so his mom used drugs, and so he tested positive for a bunch of stuff at the beginning.
Oh shit.
And he overcame it all, hence the name Logan. He had a healing factor.
Oh, cool.
Oh my God. I didn't know that was next level. I just thought Logan is so just the perfect thing, but it's even more perfect than I knew.
Well, he didn't know if it was going to be Logan or Deadpool, but I think this worked out.
I didn't know if my son was going to have two, disappointing sequels or one. So, but no, and so he overcame that stuff, but we were in there for 2 weeks, and they don't let basically babies that that are born testing positive, they have to take tests and stuff to see whether or not they're still affected by the substances. So those first few days were like really, really tough.
You mind if I ask what the substances were? Was it
what's
coke,
that?
Coke, heroin?
Yeah,
everything.
Name it. It's right. I mean, it was the birth mom was from Florida, so she apologized that that there was cocaine in the fentanyl.
and you were like, I'm also from Florida. I know exactly what this child is.
Apology accepted. I know, and the thing was, we had I don't know if the last time I was in the middle of it, but the last time I talked to you guys, we had 2 adoptions fall through. So this was number 3.
And when did they fall through? Because you hear sometimes that the adoptions fall through after they've been in your care for a while, because the parents have rights still for a certain number of months. They can change their mind because
that they gave birth and they were like, I'm keeping the kid.
Yeah. So that you got all the way to the birth and then they changed. Oh, wow. How did you guys deal with that?
Wow. She calmed me down every 5 minutes for 2 minutes. Then
no, we went to a Denny's and I got to be mad about that instead.
That took over. That was more
it was tough. We had child locks and no child. So the first one was going to be a girl, and then the second was a boy, and so we matched.
Your rooms are all purple.
What's that?
Your rooms are all purple. You managed to do what?
Yeah, that's hilarious.
What'd you manage to do?
Oh yeah, so we managed so when we got the call, the third one, we matched with her and everything, and then we got the text that like in the middle of the afternoon, my water broke, and so we got the red eye. But by the time we got to the hospital in the morning, she was gone.
Oh, wow.
He was there without her, but
had you met the mom before? Had you met the biological mom before?
No.
Okay, so you had never
we met the other 2, which was crazy. Like that's like the weirdest first date.
Right.
The weirdest icebreakers. You're like, in an hour, how do I convince you that I should have your child? And then even then when it falls through, it's like, I think it's because we didn't order the loaded fries. We just ordered the regular fries.
Right.
That was ordered loaded fries. No, that not only do we get a thing, but we overcompensate and make sure that their child's going to have a loaded life.
Right. It looks like we're cheap. It looks like shit.
Yeah. You had to get the sirloin, huh?
I spilled a little water. That means I'm going to drop your child. Fuck.
Yeah.
So you never met the mom?
No,
right? Ever? Right?
No, we've talked to her on the phone since.
Okay.
But no, we didn't. We did not meet her in person. We still haven't. And
Do those phone calls get scary? Like, do you know, hey, everything's on the up and up, everything's going to be fine? Or one day, like Hemda alluded to, there's going to be a call that'd be like, actually, I got my life together. I'd like this kid back.
I think what you're saying, have adoption papers been signed already?
Who the fuck knows, too?
Yeah.
Anything, even if they were.
The life together and all that, that's often like foster. That's the foster system. Adoption is like they sign the rights away and all that.
Right.
So they know what it is.
Are you planning to keep in touch with the mom and having Logan be in touch and see her as a biomod, like always being?
Oh yeah. We call her tummy mommy.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, and she wrote him a letter.
Actually, it's not in the tummy. Anyway. Uterus didn't fall out of the face easily.
Uterus mommy. No, tummy mommy's very cool.
Tummy mommy's good.
She wrote him like this beautiful letter about how she wanted us and that he's so special. He has two mommies and daddies, and and it's like that's the closure that coming from her means so much more.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And I don't know, it's like we don't know how long we'll have a relationship with her, but like I want to be able to tell him that I treated her with dignity and compassion, and this wasn't just a transaction. She's a human being, and he's going to know about her. He's going to know about his birth dad. He's going to know about all that stuff because and
where you are a third choice, sure, but third time's the charm, right? Just let him know that.
Yeah, third time's the charm, but nah.
When they show that stuff, like, so a lot of TV shows will have one of the characters is adopting and they're going through it and with the people. So in Sex and the City, they had that character Charlotte, and Lacey Goranson, who we had on recently, was one of the pregnant moms that came. They flew them out, Lacey with her husband. She's pregnant, and they're sitting down at a table full of like all of the fixins and the whatever on a Park Avenue, blah blah blah. And Charlotte's like, oh, this is so great, and we're gonna treat the baby right. And they're like, we decided to keep it. And they were like, but we flew you out here. Why are you here? And they go, we just wanted to see New York City.
Yeah.
And Charlotte and her husband had to be like, okay, we get it. Because you can't now yell at, what was going to be your birth mom. Now, the reason why I bring that up is later on, they put their name on the list and they have a baby from China and they sent them the picture. And it's like, okay, they've been dismissed by this adoption agency and this and it's not happening. And it's been a year or two or whatever. And they get a picture of this Chinese baby that will be delivered to them. And she goes, that's her. That's my baby. And I'm like, whoa, bold, man. Bold. What if it's not? Like, I get it. You're having an emotion. And it's just like, wow, you're so lucky that they actually like flew the baby over to you because you could have had that card. That's her. And then it's like, okay, they changed their minds. That's her, the next one. I don't know.
We felt that way when we were in the hospital and we held him, but not until then. And then we were just like, okay, this is the kid we were meant to have. This is it. This is what was supposed to happen. And
wow. So
you'll know when it comes out of your own ICU. It changes everything.
Yeah.
How is mom doing? Is she clean? Is she looking to be clean? Does it matter? Are we talking about that?
It fluctuates. But we've talked to her recently and she seems like she's doing okay. And, she's very self-aware. Mm-hmm. Which is, like, it's kind of nice. Like one of the things, she was completely open with, the doctors about what she was on and everything. Because a lot of, birth moms aren't, and it's like then they have to do so many more tests and research and stuff, and it's just like, here you go, thanks.
Right.
And it is genuinely like a loving gesture just to say, yeah, this is what I did, and just be honest about it.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it was like, I mean, it was obviously like really tough, but there was something too, like being there with him that first like 2 weeks, like we got the best education we could about how to take care of a kid from those nurses.
Oh, wow.
Because like one of them said, like, we have a lot to teach and most people just don't want to hear it.
Wow.
And we were
That's
just like,
so,
tell us everything.
please. That's so
Yeah.
weird. Like I know that now in hospitals they force you to, before you were in there for 3 days after you had a baby, but now they're like a quick turnaround, watch a quick video
Yeah.
and hold the baby enough, like long enough for us to see that you're, at least holding his head and then get the fuck out. But
Yeah.
I'd be like, give me all the material.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I could either go home and look on YouTube and fucking curate it myself, or just give me the top 10. I promise you, this is priority watching for me.
Yeah. What's better, buttons or zippers? Tell me. Yeah. I want to
One
know
of
everything.
one of the things was shifts. Like we would watch him in shifts. So like I would go at night and Adina would watch him during the day. And then they would also, they'd be like, "Oh, that's good." Like they're like, "Make sure you both get sleep." And we followed that since. So now it's like, we have a lot of time with him together too, but we don't have to, both be exhausted all the time.
But I also imagine it comes with a little maturity that you're not like, but we don't get to have time for ourselves. We're not having as much sex. We're not doing this, that, and the next. You're sleeping when I'm awake. It's like, I like when adults are like, yeah, it's a different time for a hot minute. Like you said, let's not complain about something that we're gonna have to do anyway. Let's just do it.
Yeah, it's also, like I did all that stuff and it didn't make me happy.
Right. When I could, right.
A lot of
I'm
it,
here for a reason now in my life. Right. I could do that shit. Yeah.
But it is like there are sacrifices, but you can still do some things. You're just not going to be able to do everything. And it's also, but you do have to look at it if you want to be that mathematical about it. Like,
of course we do.
Is the joy he's giving me now more than what I would be doing otherwise? For me, yes. Sure. And it's that thing, like, I had X amount of joy reading comic books and watching cartoons, but I'm going to have way more joy getting someone into them. And it's like I even more disappointment when he's like, I don't like this stuff. Right. I'm going to play sports. And because he's not genetically my child, he might be very good at them.
And then you gotta get into that because you gotta be at the soccer meet, and you gotta scrimmage things. I don't know. You gotta learn sports terms.
But even you know what it is too. Like even all the birth mother stuff. It's like Nadine says it's like all of that. Even that it can be awkward having conversations and communication with this person, but it's all for him. And when you're like starting from a place of that selflessness of like, what is the best decision for him, which is what we've done from the beginning, it's it's helped everything else fall into place.
Right. Now there's always an agreement. Well, it's not my turn, your turn. It's his turn always. So you know what the next step is. Is that what simplifies it?
Yeah. Cool. And just that, like, our happiness and all that. Yeah, that matters. And that's still important. And we need to communicate those things. But it's like, we are living for him now. And that's okay. Because we both decided that. And we also both fought really hard for it. That's the thing, like there's those people who are like, I never wanted this kid. I'm like, the amount that we had to do. And
how long
we were told by multiple people. We were told by our own bodies, hey, don't have a kid. Then we were told by other people.
How long did it take from like going to an adoption agency, the first one?
How long did it take from inability of conception to completion?
Right.
Which I'm proud too, because like she has like fibroids and all that, but I have low sperm count, and the fact that it's both of us, the equality.
Thank God, man. Thank God. Right.
Yeah. I know. And then when I was told I had low sperm count, I really had to think back on all the porn I watched like in my 20s. I'm like, was that worth it?
Do you start thinking like, was it the soda I drank? Was it working too close
as
to
I'm drinking the
McDonald's
soda?
Yeah. Do you start like even on that trail at all, or are you like, it's a low sperm count? Who gives a shit?
A little bit. No, I just furiously masturbate. I can't believe I have a low sperm count.
I gotta make more.
He saves it all now.
Yeah, I wanted to. Yeah, it was like because I did the sperm test,
right.
and I wanted to just tell the doctor, it's my dick's not broken. Your DVD player was.
I saw on social media recently. I'm sorry to hear your dad passed away. I say sorry to hear because he seemed like one of the good ones.
Yeah.
How do you pass away?
A thing you can say about white people.
Right. That's all I meant, not dads, right?
Yeah.
How are you doing? And does it teach you about time is short?
Yeah, it was crazy because like everyone grieves so differently, and my dad was a really funny guy, and I feel like I got a lot of my dark sense of humor from him. And I remember like the day he died, it's crazy because in the same way that I missed my son's birth, I missed saying goodbye to my dad. Mm-hmm. Because I was told like, all right, he's in the hospital, he's failing, you're gonna want to come, and I did, and I got the call 2 minutes after I got off the plane. And so the lesson here is get a private jet, be really famous, and don't wait for those red eyes to Florida. Red eyes equal dead eyes. No.
Was it slow? Was it a slow death? My mom's was slow. My mom's was dementia.
No, it was a slow flight.
Slow. Is what?
It was a slow flight. Yeah.
Right.
He went into the hospital. He wasn't, Monday he went in. He wasn't feeling well. But I was told, he's going to be okay. He's going to be okay. Right. And then Wednesday, it was like, no, he's like in a coma. It doesn't look good. You should come. And I came and he was gone.
Damn.
So,
did he meet your son?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he did. He met him because, so my son was born like in upstate Florida. But with adoption, like you have to stay in.
Oh my God, there's upstate Florida? Jeez. What? What even is that? How many cars in your driveway? How many cars on the lawn is that?
No, but how many crosses you mean? No. Well, dude, he's one of the good ones, so he did have those. But no, so you go. So we had to be in the state for a few days. That's like the adoption law, like so the paperwork's like filed and everything. And so we were like, we'll just go down and see everybody. And so I'm really glad I got to see him. Thank you, Florida adoption laws.
Wow. Did you adopt from Florida for a reason?
No, that was just we were picked.
Wow. So it happened to be where you can adopt your son, pick him up, show him to the family, and wow. Yeah. And you didn't even pick. That's
no. And the mom picks you now in adoption. Like, so you make a profile and then she looks through the profiles. And
what was on your profile? What were you like? We got to add that. Like, I was on TV. What is director?
You put your credits.
She worked with Sesame Street. That's got to be a credit.
I put the credits they advertise on Times Square. I want that.
Right. I'm at Ha-Ha's and Laugh Your Balls Off. And
Star of Seinfeld, Mike Lawrence. It's just me photoshopped in with. But no, it was. I did a movie with Hugh Jackman. I was in for a few weeks called, just casual. The Front Runner. But I was in that. I'm buddies with the director, so there's a photo of me and Hugh Jackman. He saw me do stand up, Hugh Jackman. So I was like.
That counts.
Yeah, like Logan's been christened by the actual Wolverine.
Yeah.
And then like Adina, worked on Sesame Street. So there's a photo of her with Elmo. And then we also had a photo of us with RuPaul because we're like, look, we are a heterosexual couple, but we still don't want the homophobes.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
yeah.
Because but your birth parents too can be like, I want my child to be raised like this or raised like that, and we're like, we don't want that.
It's funny because you sort of had to go through similar questions that couples go through when they want to add themselves on to like, let's get a third for a night. You have to like decide what you are as a couple together,
Yeah, but we got a third for a life.
Yeah.
That's also like that's got to be an extra bummer when it doesn't work out, I would assume, because you were picked.
Yeah, just like a threesome.
You.
I wake up every day covered in someone else's fluids.
Yeah.
5, 5, 5.
We should call this episode High Five if we don't have it.
Right. Yeah. Mike Lawrence, he
from dads to dads.
when he was 15 years old, he started performing. He started doing poetry at open mic nights, and then he realized, you know what? I like it when people laugh. I'm just gonna do funny shit. I would love to see these fucking poems. What the fuck could you have been talking about at 15 and you were trying not to necessarily be funny?
Oh, that was so serious. You
still have them?
No, I got rid of those. Like,
but he doesn't want the kid to find them.
They're all like printed once, and then I lost that computer. And like giant font, red font.
But like you remember a few of the lines, right?
Oh yeah, there was the one. It was like, what things make you think the things that you think? What molds you from mild mannered apparatus to semi-established cult status? Like slam poem stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Oh, you're right. I would have loved to be in that room. Yes.
And then you know what got me out of poetry was watching The Professionals, which is a very, very loose term, but at Delray Beach, which was like an hour from where I lived, there was like the South Florida poetry team, like who they have like national slam competitions and stuff. And there was a show, Russell Simmons' Deaf Poetry Slam.
We've been
Deaf Comedy Jam, and there was like one person who had like a TV credit there. I'm like, oh my god! I'm like, oh, this is terrible. They're terrible. And I was like, this is what I'm aspiring to be.
Oh, that's funny. A vet show. Yeah, I you know what? I figured slam poetry wouldn't be my thing, but I did go to one of those Def Jam things. Me and Chemda went, and I loved it. I was surprised.
It was really good. You know why I think you loved it though, Keith? Because I was like, oh, let's go to poetry. And you were like, fuck. And then it was like half decent. And you're like, oh, it's like regular human talking. I think you expected like, berets and all black and like fucking turtlenecks. And people were like,
he expected Dr. Seuss.
It was
in the teeth.
It was actually just a little different.
And he's showing his teeth.
I surprised Chemda for her birthday. So here I'm like, this is going to suck, but I'll be a hero. Because I even knew like extra, this is going to blow. But I was surprised. I dug it. Yes, if you ever happen to come across those poems, we all need a piece of that. That'd be very exciting.
Yes.
People want to see what Mike Lawrence is up to. What's the best way to play it, Mike? Or should they just buy the old album and you're busy? Why are they bothering you?
Mike Lawrence Comedy. I wrote on Pete Davidson's Bupkis, so that's on Peacock right now. It's already been written, so I can say that you can stream it.
Right. What a bummer, right? That he was just going to do SNL to promote it too. Then the writers strike.
I was going to write on that episode, man.
God damn.
I was in New York to write on that episode.
Yeah. So do they pick up again? Like, is he planning, or you just don't know?
I think so. Yeah. But I co-wrote like his last couple weekend updates and stuff. So I've been working with him a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you enjoying that process?
So.
You like it?
Oh yeah. That's fun.
Cool. Mike Lawrence, you check out his website. You see what he's doing. His album is fantastic. Download that. I think that's everything, Mike. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that's literally everything. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
I can't even come up with new ideas. I'm legally not allowed to. I'm done.
So then we're done. Thank you, everybody.
I'm on podcast strike.
KeithandTheGirl.com. Take a look around. Click likes, click hearts, click blue stars, purple diamonds, all that shit. Okay.
I'm not even allowed to tell my kids stories.
They have to be pre-written.